The Gospel of Mark. Disciples ask questions. Mark 9:10-13. Introduction. 1. After being told not to reveal what occurred on the Mount of Transfiguration, Peter, James, and John had questions about what Jesus said. Mark 9:10. A. They weren't sure what rising from the dead meant. B. Though believing in the future resurrection, they were perplexed by announcements of Jesus' own death and resurrection. Mark 9:31-32. They kept this saying to themselves, questioning what the rising from the dead meant. Mark 9:10. 2. They then asked a question about what scribes taught concerning Elijah. A. Why Elijah must come first, that is, precede the Messiah. Mark 9:11. B. Jesus confirms the scribes were correct. Elijah must come first. Mark 9:12. Micah 4:5. C. But that Elijah had already come, in the person of John the Baptist. Mark 9:13. Matthew 17:12-13. They asked him, saying, Why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first? He said to them, Elijah indeed comes first, and restores all things. How is it written about the Son of Man, that he should suffer many things and be despised? But I tell you that Elijah has come, and they have also done to him whatever they wanted to, even as it is written about him. Mark 9:11-13. 1. The concept of discipleship. A. The word disciple. 1. The Greek word is mathetes. A learner, pupil. Thea. 2. It denotes one who follows another's teaching. Vine's Expository Dictionary. B. What Jesus expects of disciples. 1. To learn from him. Matthew 11:28-30. 2. To be taught things he commanded. Matthew 28:19-20. See what the apostles expect of disciples. 1. To grow in knowledge. 2 Peter 3:18. 2. To increase in the knowledge of God and Christ. Colossians 1:10. Philippians 3:8. 2. The role of questions. A. Jesus taught by asking questions. 1. In regards to healing on the Sabbath. Matthew 12:10-12. 2. In regards to his identity. Matthew 16:13-15 and 22:42-45. 3. In regards to divorce. Mark 10:3. 3. In regards to paying taxes. Luke 20:22-25. 4. In regards to having authority. Matthew 21:24-25. Asking questions can be a useful teaching tool. B. Disciples learned by asking questions. 1. They asked about his parables. Mark 4:10 and 7:17. 2. They asked about Elijah. Mark 9:11. 3. They asked about their inability to cast out a demon. Mark 9:28. 4. They asked about his teaching on divorce. Mark 10:10. 5. They asked about the man born blind. John 9:2. 6. They asked about the destruction of Jerusalem. Mark 13:1-4. Asking questions is a great way to learn. C. We should learn by asking questions. 1. Do not hesitate to ask questions. A. In Bible classes. B. After the sermons. C. At any time in person, via email, by phone. 2. Do not be afraid to ask questions. A. Some fear they will appear ignorant. B. Which is better? 1. To appear ignorant temporarily. 2. To remain ignorant permanently. 3. Besides learning, asking questions is a great way. A. To make Bible classes more interesting. B. To help teachers and preachers be more useful. They love questions. 4. I had a student who came to class prepared with questions. A. He wrote them down prior to class on 3x5 index cards. B. His questions encouraged others to ask their own questions. C. It provided a great learning experience for all. Never underestimate the importance of asking questions. Conclusion. 1. Remember, a disciple is a lifelong learner. A. As disciples of Christ, we must always be learning. B. Growing in knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. 2. There is no better way to learn than to ask questions. A. Ask a brother, a sister, a teacher, a preacher. B. Keep asking until you get a biblical answer. And you certainly do not have to wait until you are a disciple of Jesus to ask questions. Consider the example of the Ethiopian eunuch. So the eunuch answered Philip and said, I ask you, of whom does the prophet say this, of himself or of some other man? Then Philip opened his mouth, and beginning at this scripture, preached Jesus to him. Now as they went down the road, they came to some water. And the eunuch said, See, here is water. What hinders me from being baptized? Acts 8:34-36. He asked 2 questions. One that began his learning about Jesus, the other that led to his being saved by Jesus. Are you willing to ask questions in order to learn and be saved? The end. The Gospel of Mark. Disciples ask questions. Mark 9:10-13.